linebacker, cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
KJ Wright.
Hey, bro, so you're watching NORBFAM.
You're watching NORBFAM.
Woo! Okay, this is the kind of news we were waiting for on this Blue Friday. Welcome to the show. This is NORBCam coming at you. Breaking news: the Seahawks have signed Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, formerly of the Los Angeles Rams, now a Seahawk. I don't know the details yet of this deal. I saw somewhere it was Ian Rappaport broke. At least that's where I saw it first. That it's somewhere in the range of $15 million a year. I don't know yet what the contract details are as far as time of duration of contract or number of years. I'm sure. Oh wait, Moose Nation comes in with it. Some of you guys are all coming. Thank you very much. Damn Dog as well. 3 years, $45 million. So it was a pretty much 45. I want to know how much of that is guaranteed. But hey, either way, I mean, this is a great pickup. I think we've all been talking about, speculating that maybe Cooper Kupp, the Washington native, grew up in Yakima, went to Eastern Washington University, would possibly come back here after he was released by the Rams. And wow, sure enough, it actually happened. This is one of those signings where, you kind of have this idea that, hey, wouldn't it be great if this happened? And then you kind of hope, you cross your fingers, and then it never does. They end up going to some other place. This is one of those ones where I was like, okay, is this going to actually end up where we hope it would be? Or is this going to be like, oh, damn, I really was hoping that would be the case. But nonetheless, excited. Obviously, when we started out the week last week, losing Tyler Lockett, losing DK, and now all of a sudden, okay, we're shoring this up. We've got Cooper Kupp. We've got Marcus Valdes-Scantling. And we're still going to keep bringing guys in, I'm sure, with the draft, and this whole free agency period is not done yet. So, it's exciting. This is really exciting. And Cooper Kupp, is still, got a lot to prove. And I think he's still a good receiver. So I'm going to go right away here because I see Sam Dog jumping in. Invite you guys. I want to get your comments right away. So I'm going to bring Sam Dog in. We're up right now. We'll look at some stats in a minute. But right away, let's get Sam Nugget in the house. Sam Dog. Yeah, remember that. Finally, a few years later, but he's here.
But he's arguably, you can make the argument that he's the greatest receiver ever to play on the Red Inferno in Eastern Washington University, the greatest Eastern Washington Eagle of all time. Granted, winning the Super Bowl MVP, the wide receiver triple crown, and granted he did all that with the Rams, but hopefully let's see how much of an edge that could take off of, Jackson Smith and Jigba if they're going to team up Cooper Kupp with all the experience he's had, because they're going to be afraid of trying to stop him, and then it's going to open up Jackson Smith and Jigba again. I'm not saying it will, but knock on wood. But it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. I did not think this was going to happen. I thought for sure Jared Goff maybe might make a call to him, try to get him to join Detroit to reunite with him. But wow, I didn't think he'd want to come home.
Yeah, no, it's great. I can't. Everybody seems pretty excited in the chat. Got John Schneider in the chat. He calls himself John Schneider. With the super chat says, "I told you, I want wide receivers over overpaid guards." Well, we'll worry about the whole guards thing situation later. Let's just enjoy this moment that we're making up for what we lost just last week, and. Again, I don't think we're done. This is definitely just a step in the right direction.
Lineman now?
Yes, I know. No kidding, right? This is a very offensive lineman-heavy draft. So I'd like to think that even if we don't get the big free agency splashes that we were hoping for, that we can pick up some pretty good linemen in this draft coming up here. So, that's what we're hoping anyway, right? And maybe even the guys that we have will actually be more productive under this new scheme and under the new line coaches, new offensive coordinator. that this will actually help us get the most out of the guys we already have. And wouldn't that be cool to actually have it where the guys who are on the team actually play better? You know, I talked about this before on an earlier stream, but how weird must it be to be a Seahawks offensive lineman where you're pretty much like, people don't even hate them. They just think they're trash. They just think, oh, our offensive line just completely sucks. You guys are terrible. We get the worst in the league. We need to bring in some new guys. If you're, you know, if you're Oluwatimi, if you're Abe Lucas, if you're Charles Cross, if you're Christian Haynes, don't just take that kind of personally and think, I'm going to work my ass off this offseason. I'm going to prove these guys wrong that I'm not just a piece of trash, that we can be better. Damn right. And that we have to be replaced, right? And that would be nice, wouldn't it? And not feel like we have nothing and we have to just get everything from scratch. So I would love to see that, right? Have these guys step up and actually just, you know, play better.
Damn
that would
right,
be, that would be a great idea.
Norb, this is definitely damn right, man. I feel like we're going to do that damage in the draft. We got to really hit it on the draft heavily.
Sorry, I got
on
a technical issue here. Hold on a second.
Sure. Me and my dad would say for a while, we got to bolster up the trenches. In football, it all starts on the trenches, you know? We got a little bit of a good start on that. The players need to mold. I mean, LeMay made some good blocks in some games in the last game, including one of which I was at. Well, two of which back-to-back. That block he had on Kinlaw when Charbonnet scored the game-winning touchdown. Then the pancake in the Arizona game I was at the following week.
Yeah.
When Charbonnet had the 51-yard house call.
Yep.
But, man, Norb, is this something I need to smoke a cigar on with Cooper Kupp? Is this something I need to go smoke a cigar on? What do you think?
I guess you could smoke a small one. I mean, like that big one that you did on your video. That was like 2 feet long or something like that. I don't know. I think it's still a great signing. There's a lot to be proved yet still because we know he's coming off of the injuries. And am I still having issues with my mic? I saw that my mic was static. That happens once in a while. Hopefully it's better. But anyway, still pushing along here, and hopefully things are sounding okay to you guys. Just looking at the stats here, when he came off that MVP season, he had a high 1,947 yards, 145 receptions. That was at his peak in 2021. Since then, he's dropped off quite a bit. He only played 9 games in 2022, but still got 812 yards, 75 receptions. In 2023, he played 12 games, dropped to 737 yards, 59 receptions. And then last year, he played 12 games again, 67 receptions and 710 yards. But so, can he get back? He'll probably never be the guy who had those, 1,947 receiving yards.
Rams had the prime years. So,
they had the prime years, for sure.
But I will say this, though, about Cooper Kupp, though. He's better than what Devontae Adams is right now. He's definitely better. My dad even said he thinks Cooper Kupp is better than Devontae Adams right now. And prime Devontae Adams, he was the best. Prime Devontae back in Green Bay days. His earlier days of Green Bay was the best receiver in the league, in my opinion, back when he was prime. But he's not better than Cooper Kupp now, though, just saying. And when Cooper Kupp, he knows how to – when he gets open, he gets open. We saw that firsthand in the matchups where he used to kill us back in the day. But he used to freaking – and I still remember – before, when I wanted to draft him, it was that freaking game where Eastern Washington upset Washington State over in Pullman, where he just carved up the Cougars when he was still at Eastern Washington. I never forgot that game.
Yeah, no, he's been great everywhere he's gone. But here's some positive stats to look at besides the gross numbers. Just look at touchdowns, right? Because the thing about Kupp is that even if he doesn't maybe have the bigger, deeper threat and the quantities, he can still get open and he can still catch the football. I say the same thing about Tyler Lockett too. We have some people in the chat kind of a little bit salty about what happened to Tyler. Oh, you're going to give a guy who cut the guy who was 32 to overpay a guy who's 31. But look at this. So from this touchdown standpoint, right? Now, touchdowns are at a premium. These are from 2017. Here's his touchdown numbers: 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. 2021, his high year, 16 touchdowns, and since then, 6, 5, and 6. So, if you look at the total of years, he's had a lot of years where he had 5, 6 touchdowns, and a lot of those on years where he didn't play a full season. So, and still managed to get, he never had less than, well, 1 year, second year, he had 566 yards. Every year since then, he's been at least 700 yards, and often when he's missed 5 games or more. Now, that's still pretty impressive to put up those kind of numbers, and even, being injured, that he's still putting up numbers when he does play. So, let's just hope we're getting the best of him. And, I'd like to think he's going to be motivated to work during the offseason and get his body as good as it needs to be. So, yeah, man, I think either way, we should be excited. And I don't know, man, do you think there's this possibility of Tyler Lockett coming back to Seattle? A lot of people say, they should just offer Lockett a deal, but nobody knows what Tyler Lockett wants. I think we all think that, hey, well, let's just give Tyler and he'll just take that. Maybe he doesn't want to play anymore. Maybe he doesn't want to come back to Seattle.
Joe Jurevicius. Thomas Heston said Cooper may be the reincarnation of Joe Jurevicius. I remember when Jurevicius came on that Super Bowl 40 year. I remember Joe Jurevicius.
Yeah, he was great.
I went to every game during that 2005 season. That white boy he won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay in 2002. Yep. I think he was also on the Giants when they got blown out by the 2000 Ravens, too. I remember that, but yeah, everybody's just crying about Tyler Lockett. Get over it. It's over.
Well, you got to understand, guys. Here's the thing, though. What do you got to understand about the Tyler Lockett deal? If you don't understand, Tyler Lockett, I'm sure the Seahawks would have loved to have had him play another year. The problem was with the contract as it was, we would have had to pay him $30 million. $30 million, the same cost that we're almost paying our new quarterback. It wasn't like we suddenly decided he sucks now. It was because they back-ended that contract so that they could get as many years as they could, and it would be backloaded. So when it came to the end, they knew that, okay, by the time it comes to paying this big, huge amount that would be on the books, that's when they cut it short. That's kind of how the nature of these NFL contracts are. They never play out the whole contract to the end. It's very rare that they do. So I'm sure it wasn't a personal thing for Tyler either, but he might have known that was just kind of how it's going, and they probably talked and said, Tyler, do you want to rip this thing up and come back and work at a lesser amount because that's all we can do, blah, blah, blah. And he might have been like, man, I'm good. I'm going to just have my wife, my kid, and I'm going to go sell houses now and save my brain and my body while I can, retire on my terms, not somebody else's. So anyway. Yeah,
there's still news to get if he's going to retire or whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a team like, maybe the Detroit Lions, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs want to take a shot at Tyler Lockett, maybe to try to make a run. Hell, maybe even the Philadelphia Eagles maybe might want to try to bring in Lockett maybe for some grand. They already got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and a pretty strong receiver.
Not like those guys need any more weapons. But
maybe someone might take a flyer. Maybe a contending team might want to take a flyer on Tyler Lockett. The question is who would want to take a flyer on him if he still wanted to play, unless, no one wants to take the flyer. He probably just retires and goes on and to his real estate business. He's got his kid coming on the way. So, just be able to walk and live for your family.
Well, again, I think this is...
Buffalo too. Yeah, Buffalo too.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
The other thing, too, is that's why this contract, the 15 or the 3 years, $45 million, it's easy to think, $50 million a year, where that's how much they're paying. It's all about the guaranteed money, because somebody said, what was it? Backloaded about the Tyler Lockett contract. Backloaded so he doesn't get the money that he earned. No, Lockett knew the structure of it. That's why they always have to try to work to get that guaranteed money as high as they can, because they know they'll probably never see the rest of that. So it's the guarantee that they can only depend on. So this $45 million, Cooper Kupp will not see $45 million. He's going to see some guaranteed amount. I'm going to guess it's like 18 million or 20 million or something, and incentives to go with that, maybe to make it he could make more money if he hits certain targets. We'll see what the details come out. It might come out while we're streaming right here, but anyway, that'll be what really tells the details of his contract.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Kupp didn't play out the full deal, the full contract, depending on what happens, like if he gets hurt or something. So I wouldn't be surprised on that. But it's just, we got to build the offensive line. Build the offensive line. Get the protection so that way we could be able to compete with our rivals.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Right now, the team we just got Cooper Kupp from, they're right now the top dog in the division. The Niners, I know there's some world of hurt, man, losing so many free agents and players, and they still got a quarterback situation to deal with that's going to cost them a ton of money. 49ers are on the way down the escalator. Rams are are moving themselves up, having had a great draft last year, and
Arizona,
Stafford's getting old,
Josh Sweat, Arizona.
but they got moves, and we got to keep pace with them. So anyway, this is definitely a good step to make up for what we were missing. So. All right, man.
Arizona also got Josh Sweat, too, from the defending champs. Arizona got Josh Sweat. You can't forget that. So
can't forget the Cardinals. It's so easy to blow the Cardinals off. But, yeah, you're right. The Cardinals, they're loaded up. They just, they got to see if they can make their move sometime here. But hopefully we can stay ahead of those guys because they'll be up on the rise as well. So, cool, man. Well, thanks. I'm glad I could get you in here. I got a bunch of people calling to get in, so I'm going to switch to some other calls. But, man.
Thanks for making me first, though. Thanks for making me first. I got to call Anish back because he was trying to call me while I was on this.
Yeah, all right, man. Sounds good. We'll talk soon, man. All right. Go Hawks.
Go
Sam
Hawks.
Dog, the infamous 253. Let me go to Vanessa Soto. I wonder if this is really Vanessa. Sometimes I have a female's name and it's just the caller ID is off or something. But before I do that, Zardy with the super chat says, get a wide receiver in round 1, then offense is golden. Agree? Well, we still got the offensive line thing. So I don't know. Maybe we should put our resources into an offensive lineman. We can discuss that as time goes by. Thank you, Zardy, for the super chat. Vanessa from the 719. Is this Vanessa indeed, or is this someone else's name?
Hey, this is Estabon Soto. That's my sister's name.
I was going to say, you don't sound like a Vanessa. It's a voice that's a lot lower than I would have expected. Esteban. All right, where are you calling from? Where's 719?
That's the area code for Colorado, but I live in Florida.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Number just carried over. Gotcha. Okay, so, what do you think about this signing for the Seahawks, Cooper Kupp?
I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, we were hearing rumors and all that good stuff, but to see it actually happen, knowing that he's going back home, and also his value that he brings, not even just on the field, but also to mentor. I think that's what we're also paying him for as well. So I'm pretty excited nonetheless.
Yeah, plus, I think for him, we speculated he might want to come back here because of his Washington roots and his connection. He's got family out here. I've mentioned it before that my business partner, Mike Lorraine, his 80s Broncos fan character on my Rivals shows, his best friend growing up was Kyle Kupp. Related in the family. So, there's definitely a connection in there, but, this guy has caused us trouble for many years. So it's nice to see him on this side and give another target for Sam Darnold to throw to. So, at this point, it's just really a matter of how productive can he be coming off of the injury. I mean, it's the same thing, with Demarcus Lawrence, right? It's like we've seen how great he was several years ago. Can he come back from an injury and be anywhere near as productive as he was? I mean, that's what kind of gets you teased, right? It's that feeling like, okay, I think he can do that for us too. And you just hope that they can be at least close to some, bit of what they had before. Because obviously if they don't and the injury thing has just really wiped them out, well, then you're like, oh man, what a waste. So hopefully we're not talking about that. Hopefully it's one of those things they can bounce back and get these guys even close to what they were from just a few years ago. Because if they could, man, that would be amazing. It'd be amazing. But
that's like the best case scenario. Obviously, with given the age of D-Law and Cooper Kupp, if we can at least just get like 10 games out of them and just, obviously help them out, get acclimated to the team and all that good stuff. Plus, we have a pretty nice depth on the D-line when it comes to Lawrence coming over. And then for Kupp, I project him to be the number 2. I mean, that's kind of the most logical thing in my personal opinion.
Yeah, with MVS being the number 3.
Really cool.
Yeah, JSN, Cooper Kupp, MVS probably, and then who knows? I mean, there's guys we've got a couple of guys that have been on the roster. We have Bobo, and they might draft some guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they decide to use this new personnel with what we got already and who we'll be seeing in the draft. Got a lot of draft capital now, so it's a lot of potential here, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It sure is.
All right, well, cool. Thanks for chiming in, man, and calling in the future, man. Appreciate your reaction.
Of course, I appreciate you taking the call.
Take care. All right, Estabon, thanks. Go Hawks. Let's go to the 717, Lititz, Pennsylvania. Or is it Lititz? Lititz. Pennsylvania. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
This is Zach calling from Lancaster County.
Zach?
Yeah, we're a couple counties away from Philadelphia, so.
Oh, gotcha.
Heavy
Wow.
Eagles territory up here.
Okay, all right. Long ways from here. Wow, well, I'm sure you're calling in because you have a reaction to this Cooper Kupp signing. What's yours?
I like it. I think it's I think it's maybe it's not the same skill that DK had, but I think it'll be at least a distraction on the field, and I think that's what we have to remember. But I think with the other wide receiver that we got in JSN, I think it just opens up our options. You know, the defense doesn't know who the ball is going to. Whereas we had DK, Tyler, and JSN, I think everybody knew that, okay, the ball is first getting thrown to DK, then second looks JSN. Whereas, you know, now we have these three guys, and I think it's going to make the defenses that we play work a little bit harder. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's, you know, losing Lockett and DK, who obviously left big holes when it felt like more than half your receiving core was gone. But getting Kupp definitely feels like you're at least replacing the productivity of Tyler Lockett, and which is big. And I still think Tyler Lockett probably, you know, if you put those guys next to each other, it's debatable whether one is significantly better than the other. The age is about the same. Maybe Lockett's a bit healthier, and part of his, you know, some of the frustration by some of the fans out there is that Tyler Lockett, as soon as he gets the ball, he drops down, right? Doesn't really fight for extra yards, but you know, but he's been on the field and hasn't been hurt in a while. Yeah. So the guy's smart, and you know, sometimes, you know, like what DK would try to do, he'd try to fight for every extra yard, and then you get the ball punched out. And it's like, just go down, dude. Right. You had the first down. And
then he gets mad with the defenders, and we get a flag or whatever.
Yeah, all that. So, you know, one thing about Cooper Kupp is definitely, you know, you feel like from a injuries aside, productivity aside, you just feel like you get a guy with. You never hear anything bad about the guy, right? Attitude is good. He's just a hardworking dude. Came from humble roots, you know, earned everything that he got. Right. And being that he's from Washington, I don't know if he was a Seahawks fan growing up. I mean, if you lived in Washington, typically you were a Seahawks fan. So maybe it was part of him too. It's like, hey, well, you know, if I can't play with the Rams and finish my career there, a second option would not be too bad to play with the team that I kind of grew up watching as well. So all that, I feel just kind of.
That's the other thing I feel like. That's the other thing I feel like. I feel like I love DK, and whenever he was on our team, I cheered for him. It was frustrating to see the flags that he got us, and sometimes the fumbles that he caused. But I do feel like there was even a respect issue. And with Mike McDonald coming in as a new guy, like, I don't know if DK 100% gave, you know, it was kind of like on the outside he acted like he was going to listen, but on the inside I think he made up his mind what he was going to do on the field. And to me that frustrates me. That's not chemistry. While I'm sad to see DK go, I almost wonder if that will be kind of the thorn taken out of the locker room. You know, I'm just speculating, but I don't know.
Well, we know he's a hothead. You know, I think it's always been that feeling like we just want to unlock the sports car so we can drive it around fast, right? But it's like with having a sports car means you have special maintenance, you got to have special fuel, you got to have a team that takes care of all this stuff, otherwise it won't run properly. And there were a lot of times I scratched my head going, man, how did you not get that? To high point that ball? How did you not beat this guy? How did you not do this, do that? It was just so many like puzzling things for a guy who we just sort of hold up there as like the greatest physical freak. Sometimes doesn't win his battles. Right,
but towards the end of the season, as a fan, I got frustrated seeing him like kind of like give up on routes. You know, like that man. That's not teamwork. That's not. There's other guys watching, and that shows where your attitude is and where your heart is. So I appreciated him and thankful for everything he did for us, but at the end of the day, it's not something I'm going to sit over here and like, you know, get all upset about. But I do think signing these guys, Demarcus Lawrence and some of these other guys, we're not doing a complete rebuild and a complete teardown. You know, we're trying to go for it, and honestly, that's what makes a good season. So excited! I think that we're going in the right places eventually. I'm just glad that this isn't like we're selling the whole entire team, you know, and it just makes the season interesting. And even if we lose a couple games, like that's part of football. It's just, you know, November, December come. It's like, are you going to make the playoffs? To me, that's the fun part. So thankful that we're not trashing.
Believe me, I was at first when all those moves happened and Geno and DK were going. I was first thought rebuild. Is that what's happening? And then I was about to post a video with rebuild as the big title on the thumbnail, and then all of a sudden we signed Sam Darnold. I was like, oh, never mind, take that rebuild off of there. Yeah. So while some people are going to debate whether that was a good move or not, it shows and all these other moves. They are not quitting on this season. They're not going for the tank for. I don't know if there's what's the term now? It used to be suck for luck when it was Andrew Luck, and now it's the Manning thing. Basically, a tank for the season, so you can try to draft high. But Seahawks are definitely not doing that.
Though, one other thing here. I'm excited to play Metcalf. They play Pittsburgh here. I don't know what time, so that'll be interesting to see if whether
we're playing them in Pittsburgh. It's an away game. We play against Pittsburgh, and what would be really cool is that Pittsburgh gets one of those first ever Dublin international games. And how cool would it be if the Seahawks played the Steelers in Ireland? How cool would that be? That would be pretty awesome.
It would honestly probably help us out. You know what I mean? Like the home advantage is that I feel like all these international games you see, it's like everybody, like you see fans cheering for both sides of the football, and jerseys, all 32 jerseys are being worn to the game. So it might actually be in our favor.
It does. If you're going to have an international game, the best way is to have it to where you're the visiting team, because it's definitely a lot better than playing in Heinz Field. So that's a much neutralizes the field advantage. So I would love to see that happen. So all right, well, Zach, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Of course, yep.
All right, have a good one. Yep. All right, go Hawks. Let me get to a super chat from Gridflow. Says, Darnold throws to a wide open MVS and he drops it. I hope not. I know he has had some issues, not living up to his potential. I don't know. I feel a little bit kind of like DK a little bit, but we're all hoping on the promise of their potential that they're going to do something different here, right? Everybody does that, right? Every team that makes a trade, the Raiders are hoping they're going to get the Geno Smith that we all, while he was here, thought he could be that guy if we only had this and if we only had a line and we had a running game and this, he would be a great quarterback. And now the Raiders are thinking, well, we're going to try to make him that great quarterback. And DK Metcalf, the Steelers obviously spending quarterback money, hoping that by having him on the field, suddenly you're going to solve all their offensive problems. I think there's a lot more wishful thinking and a lot riskier gamble from what they're doing and the money they're investing in, given what we know. But hey, that's their deal, so we'll see. They got 2 diva receivers to throw to now. All right, let me go to let me go to 843 Cam, PDX Cam. What's up, man? Been a lot of phone calls lately from you. What do you think?
Hello. Well, there's been a lot of free agency news recently.
It's a fun time of the year. Yeah, what do you think of this?
I am all for it. I have been calling for him to come to Seattle, honestly, since it was announced that he was released.
Yeah.
I've been wanting this to happen from the beginning.
Yeah. I've been wanting it to happen since before it was released, because the Rams were saying they were going to release him if they didn't work out a trade. They would just release him in free agency after Wednesday. And I was like, you man, come on, man, let him go, and then let's get him back home, because obviously he had that connection.
I think on the Rams part, that's kind of just showing your hand a bit. Like, you're basically telling people, hey, trade or we're gonna cut him, so nobody makes a trade and just wait for him to be cut.
Well, I know it is kind of funny, right? It seems like you're giving up your bargaining position to do so. I'm guessing that the way they're doing that is that they're thinking, why would somebody make a trade and not just wait till he hits free agency? Well, you could then be one of the people first in line to basically go, okay, wait, don't let him hit free agency. Let's work out a deal because we really want him. So let's get a deal worked out, and that way we'll make sure he doesn't get swooped up by some other team, right? So if you want the guy, and let's say if you were another team that wanted Cooper Kupp, and they knew that Cooper Kupp was leaning towards going to Washington, to back home to Washington here to the Seahawks, then the only way you could sway him away is to try to offer him a deal before anybody else does. And so if you'd made a deal with the team, you could you have to give something up, but at least you control that as opposed to free agent market, and he can go wherever he wants to. So luckily for us, at this point anyway, on March 14th, we can say with some excitement that we're happy that Cooper Kupp is coming to the Seahawks and can't wait to see what he'll do in 2025. At this point, it's exciting. I hope it remains to be exciting once the season gets started and these injury things that we are sort of putting a flyer on and going, okay, we're going to take a chance that this is going to be an issue. Hopefully it's not an issue. So it's an exciting player to have for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that aside from offensive line, which I think has been reiterated as something that is a area of concern, I honestly think we're going to, we signed Josh Jones, but he's most likely going to be a depth piece for the offensive line. It seems like if we don't sign like a couple more offensive linemen, probably as depth, we're going to be looking into the draft for offensive linemen.
Right.
That's just what it seems like the role of it is now, just because of the sort of the focus on other positions, and some are understandable, like quarterback. They were kind of looking to fill that position quickly if they feel they didn't have confidence in anybody that was in the draft. I mean, it had been reported that they were talking to Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. But if they felt there was a better option in free agency, they prioritized that first, which makes sense. But it seems like with O-line, it seems like there's a chance they could see something in the draft. And I think even as you said, O-line was pretty heavy in the draft this year. So they certainly have plenty of picks to take a shot at a couple guys.
Yeah, I think, as far as just where this whole thing started, just a little over a week ago, right out of the gates before the free agency period opened, we lost 2 receivers and our starting quarterback, right? They're all thinking, rebuild, what the hell is going on? So you're thinking, okay, we need to get back to where we were. What's that going to cost? What kind of draft capital is that going to be? Well, now I feel like, okay, the Lockett thing and Cooper Kupp, that's pretty much a wash. Maybe he'll be better, but that kind of evens itself out. So the Tyler hole has been filled. DK, he's a tough one to kind of say you can easily fill the shoes of. MVS definitely doesn't fill that void. He's not the same guy. He's tall like him, long like him, but he's not physical and fast as him. Yeah. But, it could be argued how good really is DK based on a lot of the things we all sort of at any one point have complained about why DK isn't doing better on this team. And sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's some bit of physicality, sometimes it's attitude. But, maybe replacing him won't be as hard as we think because he was never that huge and productive as, say, Cooper Kupp was with the Rams at his peak. Again, 145 receptions, almost 2,000 yards receiving, and 16 touchdowns is insane. I mean, that was his high point, and he's really never gotten close to that, Cooper Kupp with the Rams. But we never had that either. I don't have the numbers right offhand. Well, I could look it up. But what DK? Well, let me see. Since I'm talking out of my mouth, the other side of my mouth here, let me just see. DK Metcalf, in his 6 years with the Seahawks, his best season was the second year in 2020. He had 1,300 yards, 83 receptions, and 10 touchdowns. The following year in 21, he had 967 yards, 75 receptions, and 12 touchdowns. So he had a high of 12 touchdowns that year, but less receptions. Since then, it was 90 and 1,048, 66 and 1,114, and then last year was 66 and 992. So, he never quite hit that high mark where you're hoping he could break 15 or get close to 2,000 like Kupp did. So, I don't know. Maybe there's even a better option out there we haven't even thought of yet that's lurking in the draft someplace that we might be able to pick up. But
it also seems like, at least from some of the things that I've read, that they also want to move sort of Jake Bobo into higher up on the depth chart to sort of fully gauge what they have on him, because we've seen obviously what he done in a small role of the games and obviously the preseason. And Bobo's legit. There's legit talent there with Jake Bobo, and I think if you give him the opportunity to take either whether you want to run Cooper Kupp in that second or run Bobo in the third, or if you want to switch that, or even if you think Valdez-Scantling is something, I think you certainly try to give a lot more starting time to Jake Bobo, because if he turns out to be that what a lot of people are saying he is, he could be a really good wideout.
Yeah, he's a big target.
I think there's interest in keeping him on in the future instead of letting him walk.
Yeah, he's a big, tall target. He's played all 17 games. Let's see, 19 receptions, 196 yards in his first year, a couple touchdowns. One of those, a beautiful toe tapper, I remember, that we watched many, many times over. And then last year he had 13 receptions, 1 touchdown, 107 yards. So, but he, was only targeted 17 times last year. Caught 13, so 13 out of 17 targets is not bad. 19 out of 25. So he's never really been, because he just was too low on the chart to see what he really had. So I've been kind of curious to see what he could do if given more opportunities.
JSN, Lockett.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was buried by such talented guys. But
right
now that he's in that position where he has the opportunity to fight for that role, I think there's a good chance we could see him maybe as the number 2 or number 3 wide receiver. I mean, his fight is going to be with MVS. And I mean, again, I think there's still a good chance that Kupp's going to be one of these 3 starting receivers. Obviously, we know JSN is going to be the number 1, but I think it's really going to come up to Bobo and Kupp, who's going to be the 2 and 3. And I think we're going to see Jake Bobo in one of those positions.
Well, I don't know about 2 or 3. He might be competing for the 3rd spot. I feel like if number 2 hasn't been figured out, that I don't know. Hopefully they got some plans to pick up somebody in the draft, maybe to be some stud that they can develop. But that'd be nice, though. Again, it'd be nice if you can get some more productivity out of the guys that these 2nd and 3rd year players that have been sitting on the bench and really haven't really seen what they can do. But yeah, at least we're getting a little bit more towards even. And again, I think what would settle all of us down is if they had some big free agents offensive line signing. I think we'd all just let out a big sigh of relief and feel like, okay, now I feel better. We finally did what we just have not seemed to ever be able to do. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The options are slimming by the day, and it might come down to the draft, which, again, there's a lot of options. So hopefully one of those can pay off. It's going to be pretty important here. Schneider's really got to have to make something work with his moves this time. Obviously, the moves we've seen so far, we'll be tracking those. But as far as drafting, because he's had some misses and had some ones where you go, we could have had Jared Verse, we could have had Jalen Carter. Not to say that I would take those guys back. Jared Verse was pretty damn good for the Rams last year, and they went with Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that Byron Murphy is just a slow boil, that he's going to eventually become the guy that we all dreamed that he would be. But I think for a lot of us, we were like, could have been better. Played not as many snaps as we thought, and did get banged up a little bit. So anyway,
the injury played a good part into that. Yeah,
exactly. But nonetheless, it's when it comes down to it, the picks that are made are the ones that it falls on the general manager eventually. So, but this is the first time really in a while, at least with Coach Mike Macdonald this year, the first time that the coach, the GM, and the assistant coaches are all on the same page before the combine, before the draft. They're all working in sync to get the guys that they want. So hopefully that's going to line up with more of what they had versus last year. It felt almost like Mike Macdonald kind of got thrown pieces. Like, well, here you go. Here's your coordinator. Here's the guys. You need to go to the combine, so we're going to get these guys and make it work. So now there's no excuses. Mike Macdonald's getting the guys that he wants. So this is really going to be more of his team.
He's in the driver's seat.
He's in the driver's seat. For better or for worse, these guys that we see taking the field are going to be his call. So, and John Schneider's. So we'll see, man. It's definitely adds some excitement to it and a little bit of relief, feeling like, okay, there's a few less holes on the offense. Now we just got to get that line going, and we might actually be pretty good. So. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for the call, man. I'm sure there'll be more interesting news in the days to come, and, of course, the draft right around the corner. So stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon later, man. All right, go Hawks. Let's go to the 425, closer to this neck of the woods, with Monty Webb. Monty, you're up.
Yo, what up, Norby? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, brother. So, hey, what this was about, this is always about just drawing more attention away so JSN could continue to be freed up. And I'm really confident. Now, Scantling isn't the best. Cooper's getting older, but it's going to at least draw attention away. And that's what I'm encouraged about. Instead of, having JSN double team, leave his ass one-on-one. I mean, guys are going to get smoked. And so that's what I'm encouraged about. Now, and so we got 2 second-round picks, first-round picks. We'll probably go O-line in the first and probably another O-lineman in the second. But we could use a second-round pick on a flyer out there and grab a receiver, and he might be able to do something, I mean, we got more value, per pick than when we traded DK. I mean, we got a higher pick back than we picked on him. I feel encouraged right now, whereas like a week ago when I talked to you on the phone, when I was in the store, I called you and I was freaked out.
Pretty depressed.
Like, what are you going to do, get Darnold? Yeah. But no, now I'm feeling a lot better. And also, too, Norb, what do you think about, who is that one free agent that they might, there's this one offensive lineman, I think it was Tevin Jenkins. What do you think about maybe picking him up? He's injury prone, but there's a lot of people that say he's got top 5 talent. He was healthy last year. What do you think about getting an offensive lineman now? I feel like we're way closer now. What do you think?
Well, I feel like it sounds like much like, I don't know if it's Mike Freeze or Fries. I've heard it both ways, who eventually went to the Vikings, I think, that it sounded like the Seahawks were really in on him. And for whatever reason, whether it's because they couldn't get a physical on him before he went and got signed, the Seahawks wanted to do the physical first, and I think the Vikings just beat them to it. The question really is, I guess, who are they competing with for his attention, right? I mean, I love the idea of getting a free agent offensive lineman. That way we can complement that with a younger guy that they can develop from the draft. But it seems like just wanting a guy and having some money isn't necessarily a guarantee that it's going to happen. We obviously we were upside down against the salary cap before the trades, and then we had a ton of money. And I don't know if it was just that, again, because of the timing of things, or did they not throw enough money because other teams were bidding higher? But I think that's the other part of it, is that we all look at it as like, well, we want this, we have this, so let's just get that. What's the problem? Like, well, there's a second person to this negotiation, and that is the player actually has to want to come here. They've got other choices too. If they're good, they're going to be getting fielding offers from other teams. And, I think every team's got their advantage and disadvantage of why a player should come there. One of the non-spoken of advantages for being in Washington is, there's no state tax here, state income tax. So players will keep more of their money here than they will in certain other states like California, and I'm not sure how many others, but that's a small little thing, but it's a thing. Especially when you're making millions, that extra 10, 15% is a chunk of money. So, but they're looking at the team, they're looking at how you're going to be used. Obviously, besides the contract, they got probably family. They would decide, would they rather live in the Pacific Northwest, which maybe they know nothing about, versus somewhere familiar. All those types of things weigh into it. So. But yeah, you're competing against not only for the contract, but you're competing against the cities, of where do they want to go and where they feel more inclined to live, because they have to relocate and move there. So, but yeah, no, I think that would be a great pickup. It's just a question of can they do it? I think they still got money to do so. But yeah, can they make the move?
Well, I think we're in a good spot now, man. I really think we are. If we can just draft a receiver and get some O-line help in the draft and pick up another one in free agency, I think we're sitting pretty good now. We were looking at, people talking about rebuild last week to now. Well, I mean, we're looking pretty dangerous now. I mean, honestly, after that, I feel way better.
Yeah. Obviously, an offensive line would put everybody at ease. Like I said, I think the draft, there's going to be a lot of options there, especially since we've got extra draft capital now. They could, I assume this takes off the that notion that Seattle has to draft a quarterback in this draft, I would think that they would go with using their draft capital to get more linemen. That way they can draft next year. They'll still have a quarterback who we can play under, and we draft, hopefully we'll have our line set by next year. And then we can just focus on, okay, let's look at the quarterback of the future if Darnold doesn't feel like he's the one. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll have this amazing year and everybody will be like, whoa, man, Darnold, he's like the second coming, man. We gotta keep this guy long term and shock everybody, and that'll be a good problem to have too. So, but Darnold gives us options. So even if he is just okay or above average, but not the quarterback of the future, we can count on him to at least carry us again for another year while we do get the quarterback of the future and build him up by the time it's his turn to shine. So there's nothing worse than feeling like you got to draft a guy high and play him right away because that's how desperate you are. Because we've seen that blow up in teams' faces.
Yeah, exactly, man. And the good thing, too, I saw somebody in the comments even right now, it's true, Sam struggles, I think after year 2 we can cut him. It's not a lot of money,
right.
And then But if we can actually protect him, unlike we did Geno so dirty. If we can protect Sam, we're going to find out if he's going to be capable or not. We don't have the same firepower as the Vikings necessarily at this point, but we could real soon. But again, if we can protect him, we'll find out, man. So that's all I got. But I feel really encouraged. I feel way better. What about you?
Yeah, no, I do feel more encouraged. Obviously, last week was hard. This week is better. And yeah, it's when in thinking about the Darnold connection, it's when you try to compare, it's hard to compare the two because you can't take a quarterback out of their situation and go, okay, let's just put this guy by himself over here, put Geno over here, let's have a throwing contest and see who's better. I mean, that's not how it works, right? You got a totally different coaching situation, one of the best receivers in the game, a better offensive line in the Vikings, and you have Geno with what we know he had here. And if you were to literally just mid-season last year flip-flop the two and just said, okay, Geno, we're trading places. You get to be on the Vikings for the last half of the year, and Sam, you get to be with the Seahawks the last half. Would the records have played out differently? I think they probably would have. I think Geno probably would have been more successful if, because any quarterback given more time is probably going to be sacked less, is going to throw less interceptions because they're under less pressure. But I feel like the two of them, they are. Somebody made what was it? It was it's kind of funny, maybe not appropriate, but funny. Jason Wolf says Sam Darnold is white Geno. That might be oversimplifying just a touch, but I think what you're trying to say though is that the two quarterbacks are basically similar in terms of skill set, in terms of rating. If you were to put them on a scale from top 1 to top 25. You might put Geno and Sam Darnold kind of similar, like they're maybe in that kind of like outside the top 10, maybe just in the low teens, I would probably say. At least that's what I think. So yeah, you're not getting a major upgrade. I don't think you're getting a major downgrade either. I think you're getting similar guys, but they have different tools and strengths. And Darnold's got one of his strengths is just simply age. He's younger, so he's gonna have more tread on the tires left to go. And I think he's been, at least statistically speaking, he's a better pressure under quarterback, better quarterback under pressure than Geno was. Geno had kind of a really low rating when he's under pressure, thus the interceptions. Yeah. He's had more disastrous plays happen when he's under pressure versus Darnold has actually had a few more successful plays. So their reactions to pressure, which they both have had a lot of pressure, Darnold comes out a little bit ahead of that. So, maybe if you in a similar play where we're in the red zone, how many times have we seen the Seahawks just fall apart in the red zone, particularly Geno with the interceptions and things like that? Maybe Darnold makes a few less of those. Maybe he turns those into touchdowns, and that's the difference in that little statistic. It could make a big difference in the end of the game. So, it's a lot of what ifs, and it'll be fun to watch these two scenarios play out, watching what DK does with the Steelers, what Geno does with Pete Carroll, and obviously we'll be watching our own team unfold here and hopefully getting the best of what's left of their careers here, because we've got a whole bunch of guys in free agency that are all, past their prime right now, and hoping we can capture some of their earlier years magic. I don't know if you guys saw there was a Demarcus Lawrence. He was doing an interview with Hawk Blogger as Brian Nemhauser, and he kind of got a Twitter feud going because he made some kind of negative comments about the Cowboys. He basically said that, well, I think I'm paraphrasing, but something like, well, we weren't going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas, so I'm glad I left there and ended up here. Something to that effect. And he got some slammed pretty bad on Twitter or X from some of his former teammates. But I kind of like that, I kind of like this idea that he actually sounds like he was happy to leave that team and happier to come here. And he sounds like he's saying it in a way where, well, I've got much more chances of winning Super Bowl here than I ever would in Dallas. So that, to me, speaks of a certain faith in what he sees here. So hopefully that'll be inspiration for him to want to, do everything he can, as opposed to a guy who doesn't really want to be here, right? And that's kind of what it came down to DK and Geno. It felt like at the end of the day, they just didn't really want to be here anymore. Geno didn't really do much to counter to try to negotiate a deal. He was pretty much saw their first price and walked out the door. And DK2 was the one who said he wanted to trade first. So for whatever their own reasons, we'll never know unless you sit down and have a cup of coffee with Geno or DK and ask them, hey, man, what's the deal? We'll never know what really went down. They'll never reveal that. But it just seems like you look at all the pieces, they just didn't really want to stay in Seattle for whatever their reason, if it's just money or other things. But it's what it is, right? If they don't want to be here, it's like, well, better let them go.
It's what it is.
You can't force them, because that would be some very unhappy campers. All right. Well, thanks, Monty. Appreciate the call, man. It's been a fun day being able to break this news and discuss it with you guys.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Take care and go Hawks. All right. Well, that clears the phone lines. Unless does one of you guys have any last calls, but I think that is it for the phone calls. And really, I think I'm going to wrap this up because again, just want to see what the details of the contract are. But as of March 14th, 2025, I think this is a great move. Very exciting. Excited for Cooper Kupp. I can't wait to hear his tone of his press conferences and what he has to say about being here. I know from a little bit that I've heard that he wanted to stay in Los Angeles, even when there was rumors that the Rams were looking to move him. That he even said, I was really hoping to stay here, but didn't work out, and it kind of worked out for us. Hopefully that'll be the case. We got one more caller coming from the 949. Let's bring him in. This is, we'll see who this is. What's up? You're on live. Who's this? Hello? Oh, and they are gone. All right, so. Oh, no, well, we got somebody. We got Braden. Let's check out. Let's see if Braden's going to answer the phone. Braden, are you there? Hello, Braden for the 267. Hello. Hello, Braden. No? Nobody home?
Hello.
Oh, there you are. What? You're on live. What you got? Okay, Braden's not answering. Okay, we'll go to, there's some late callers coming in here. Let's go to Loretto. Loretto, you're on for the 808. Hawaii.
What's up, Norb?
Hey, man, it's a day got just a little bit sunnier today when we saw the news break just an hour ago about Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
What was your reaction?
Yeah, I had a feeling that we possibly were going to get him, but it was kind of a long shot because I think he had some other options.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing with DK, and that whole situation, he definitely does bring more depth to our offense for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's just, again, it's really just coming down to age and injury. How much will that affect their production? But I still think he's got something left in the tank, and I think he'll be motivated to try to, finish his career in a good note. So, I feel like these guys we've gotten, especially Demarcus Lawrence and Cooper Kupp, these two in particular, I don't know that much about MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, as far as his feeling about being here, but I feel like Lawrence and Kupp like they really want to do something special here. I feel like they're happy to be here. So that makes me.
I agree.
Warms me up, warms my soul up, feeling about how things might go for them.
Yeah,
how do you think? Speaking of Demarcus Lawrence, I want to get your opinion on Lawrence, because I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on that. Some people love it and some people hate it. I'm just curious where you stand on that deal.
Well, for me, I mean, yeah, we did have a huge amount of cap space that opened up. I mean, I don't know as far as about what they're paying him. I mean, I guess, you know, it'll be seen in time if it was the right move. But as far as an athlete, he's a beast. I think he's definitely a beast. And you know, a lot of people will have their own comments, like you said, it's mixed. But sometimes I feel like the players, if they're not in the right environment or right team chemistry, they're not going to shine. So maybe just where he was, he didn't get those opportunities. Like, well, for instance, right, like what DK was saying, that we weren't using him enough. That's why he wanted to leave. So, hey, you know, maybe this is where he'll shine, and hopefully that's what I feel. I'm hopeful for it, so I'm all for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many aspects to it, right? There's the players around you. Sometimes if you have a really good player on the other side, that opens things up for you. You know, the scheme. All those things. I mean, we've seen success stories like Ernest Jones coming here last year. Glad they got him signed. And there's another guy. There's another dude who looks like he genuinely is like really happy to be here. And we've seen other guys who come here and it's like you're all excited. Hey, this guy's gonna be great. And then, oh man, that didn't even that amounted to nothing. That was a waste.
It didn't last.
So you get both. You're just hoping you get more swings and hits than swings and misses. But you just never know. You're banking on their future. You're banking on the potential of what they might be able to do, knowing that they've done this in the past, but can they do it in the future? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. And, you know, you hope they've done their homework. You hope they've done their due diligence and their scouting department and that their defensive coordinators and everybody. Oh, that's another thing, too. Aiden Dirty was defensive coordinator with the Cowboys before he came here last year. And so he's getting reunited with him. So I mean, for what that's worth, I think just like Clint Kubiak with Sam Darnold played together, so he's familiar with the system. You hear about all that, and you just hope, okay, well, I hope that means something. I hope that means when you watch them play, it's just like, wow, look how great they look, as opposed to not, right? So, yeah, that's all we can do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think, you know, and the thing too, like what I do tell a lot of people, well, because I'm from Hawaii, man. I talked to you like a year ago, like on your podcast. I'm from Hawaii. I have another name on that. I think that it went by. It was like 12 Man Oahu on my other YouTube page. I don't know if you remember me talking to you. Okay. But yeah, I have a whole following here in Hawaii for the 12 Man. But nice. Yeah, you know, McDonald, when he first came in, what I was gonna say was, I already had a feeling like he was going to be respectful and let the guys that were already there that had time to just play it out and see how it went. But if he didn't like them, there was going to be a huge amount of changes. Like just letting Lockett go, I had a feeling, but I didn't expect it that fast without like a real, I guess you can say as far as fans, they didn't prepare us to like not have him on our team next year. Like it was sort of a shock. DK, I kind of felt the way he was acting, you know.
Yeah. Well, for me, I saw the Tyler thing coming a long ways away, and I was just a strictly numbers thing. It wasn't like he wasn't any good. It was the contract. I kept looking at that contract, $32 million.
Yeah.
You know, the only way you fix that and keep him is you got to either rip up the contract and say, Tyler, you know, if you want to play with us, we can't do it at this contract. You're going to have to agree to tear this up and redo your contract, or we kind of let you go and you come back on a deal, which is essentially the same thing, right? I mean, leaving and then coming back is the same as ripping up the contract and coming up with a new one, because you can always change your contract. If the two parties agree, yeah, that's not going to work, but I want to stay and keep playing. But either A, he didn't want to do that and didn't want to take a pay cut, or B, maybe he was just done. Maybe he was just happy to go, you know what, I put in my 10 years, I'm ready to move on. I don't want to play for anybody else. So I'm kind of hoping that if they're not going to have him back, that he just does that, because it would be hard to watch him wearing another uniform. It's always hard to watch your guys go to other teams, right?
Exactly.
Especially guys like him.
Bobby Wagner, it's hard to watch him.
Yeah, I know. Just when you thought he was washed, right? And he goes and makes the playoffs with Washington, and then they re-up him, and he's going again. It's like, man, he left the Seahawks twice.
Yeah.
So, it's like, man, we could have kept him playing, but, that's just what it was, unfortunately. But yeah, you wish you could have handled that one differently. But no matter what, it's rare that you're actually going to have a player leave and everybody feels good about it. Like, how often does it actually happen when everyone goes, oh, it's been a great run, big group hug, we'll see you later? This Tyler one is about as close to that, I think, as possible, because it was I'm sure everybody, including him and the team, saw that coming. So it wasn't like a surprise, we're just trading you and out of the blue. But yeah, usually it's never a good ending. It's an injury, or the guy gets unhappy and he's flipping off the team. So we've seen it all. We've seen all kinds of reactions, but usually it's not a very just copacetic, just everyone's, just kumbaya, walking hand in hand with a big embrace and then leaving the facility. It's rare if you get that option. But Lockett, it's almost like that, except, and then DK kind of rained on his parade because it was supposed to be the Tyler Lockett celebration day, and then he goes and says, hey, I want to be traded. So we didn't even have 30 minutes to enjoy his
Exactly. Kind of took away Lockett's shine a little bit,
Yeah.
But what thing too I was gonna say, maybe you can shed some light on, and a lot of people do ask me in like my my Facebook group for 12 man.
Yeah.
Why don't the Seahawks let these veterans have a choice of maybe retiring, like their jersey? Why don't they do that like other teams?
Well, there's a couple things.
Seahawks, yeah.
Well, there's two things to that. There's things that the Seahawks do to honor past players. So you've got your Ring of Honor. So that's reserved for players who obviously, they're done playing and they've reached a certain standard where it's reached such greatness that they become part of that ring, and they have a whole ceremony, and it's like a Hall of Fame for the team, basically, right? And then there's the retiring of the jersey, and that's a whole nother level of greatness. That's like the creme de la creme. That's the best of the best of the Ring of Honor. That's the top gun of the Ring of Honor. And there's only been a few jerseys that have been retired. 12 is one of them. Walter Jones is one of them. And then, I'm forgetting which of the other retired jerseys, but
is Hasselbeck?
No, I don't think he's in the Ring of Honor, but he's not a retired jersey. There's not a lot of.
He's not retired jersey? Okay, maybe I was wrong.
Cortez Kennedy, I think, is one of them. Shoot, I should know this. This is good trivia. Which jerseys have been retired besides 12, 71?
Yeah, that's
I think it's 96, but I'm not sure. Do you guys know? Maybe you guys know. But and probably Largent, of course. Yeah. Largent, of course. Easily. Thank you. Easily.
Largent, yeah.
80, 45, 12, and 71. I think that's it, right, guys? I don't think we retired Alexander. He is in the Ring of Honor, though. But yeah, so
Alexander.
Yeah, I don't think you could just give them the choice, because then you'd be giving out numbers all over the place. Next thing you know, you're running out of numbers because everybody said, "Yeah, retire my number. I was great." So you kind of have to earn it. You want it to be a special thing that not anybody can get that, right? I mean, it's like right now, it's like, who do you think should be in that ring coming up here? Like, I'm sure names like Marshawn Lynch, Richard Sherman. Of course, Russell Wilson. He's still playing, so it's not going to be thought of for a while. But and I think when the dust settles, well, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, Russell Wilson's career has just gone so weird ever since he left.
Don't forget about Chancellor. He was
MK Chancellor.
Was another.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway,
went to another team, right? Yeah.
Chancellor. Oh no, he got hurt on that death field in Arizona and had a neck stinger, and he was done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we basically lost the Legion of Boom all in that Arizona field. We lost Earl Thomas to a broken leg that resulted in the finger.
Right?
Yep.
Damn.
Sherman tore his Achilles on that field. That was the last time we ever saw him in a Seahawks uniform. And then Cam Chancellor, came off the field. We didn't even know he was injured. He just came off the field, and then he never came back, and we never saw him again. sad disappearance. I was like, what happened to him?
And Earl Thomas walked off himself.
No, he didn't walk. He got hauled away on a cart and was flipping off Pete Carroll as he was getting carted away. That famous shot of him sitting on a cart, offering the finger to the sideline.
Flipping the bird.
Yeah, that was just a weird deal. Weird what happened to Earl Thomas was, for a while there, arguably one of the best safeties we've ever had, and just how quickly that all just went downhill. And then after that, even he went to play with the Ravens, and that he had domestic issues, and then he just disappeared. Just a weird end when after he left the Seahawks. So, but anyway, well, thanks for calling in, man. I hope you'll call in the future. There'll be plenty more to react to, I'm sure, in the weeks and months ahead. So,
for sure, bro. Yeah.
All right.
I always leave you comments in your videos.
I appreciate that, man. So what? So you're under. What is your YouTube identity? Is it the Oahu one, or is it something else?
Well, the one I called you before, because I think there was B-Boy Loretto, and then I had another one that was like a 12-man group, but I don't use that, so I don't know how it It's weird that it recognized me like that, but I guess since I got your number on YouTube and I was on this account, I don't know. It was weird, it showed up as something different, I guess.
I got Bryson Taroma. He's also from the 808. Maybe you know each other. He says, 12th man in the 808. Let's go, he says. Bryson Taroma.
Hey, our 12-man crew is here strong. We got a lot of 12 men in Oahu.
I got to look you guys up, because I do go to Hawaii every once in a while because my wife works for the airlines and flies there quite often. So I'll have to look you guys up one of these times when I'm down there. It'd be fun to get together with some Seahawks fans in the islands.
Group. Oh, yeah, no worries, man.
Bryson's from Kauai.
Oh, Kauai. That's cool. We have multiple islands that have 12-man fans. We have like 7 islands. So,
right.
You got
the Big Island. You got Oahu, Molokai, Kauai, Maui.
Lanai.
And then am I missing one?
Yeah, there's also called Lanai. Yeah, and then there's a few other islands that are like more historic, but I mean, I'm sure there's fans on those ones as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right, cool.
Too. Don't forget about Maui.
Yep. Oh yeah. Of course, Maui. I did mention Maui, but yeah. Well, Joey Del Rosario wants to know where in Oahu are you from?
Me? I'm from Kaimuki. It's like in the city area.
Kaimuki?
Yeah, Kaimuki. It's like a little city area town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Joey Del Rosario wanted to know. So, well, you should chat after you're done with the call here, so I can see how you come up. Just tell me that it's you, so I know what your identity is on YouTube.
Yeah. So Facebook would be the most thing. Is 12-man Oahu.
Okay, that's easy. 12-man Oahu.
That's usually where everybody connects. Yeah, 12-man Oahu, and everybody's like, it's an open group, so anybody can join, just like, as long as people are respectful. Even other teams, I have people in there, but as long as they're respectful. But it's a majority community for Seahawks fans.
Nice. Cool. All right, I'll go check it out. But thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. Good talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hey, good luck this season. Go Hawks.
Yeah, thanks. Go Hawks. All right, let's give Braden one more chance, because I think he started to talk, and then I think I hung up on him. Oh, never mind. He just hung up himself. So now let's go to Coach Mesh. Long time, Coach Mesh. He used to coach me up on Madden. It feels like a long time ago now. Coach Mesh, what's going on?
How you doing?
Yeah, a lot of fun today. I actually had a very busy day today. I was at the Olympia, the state capital of Washington, and you might have seen my video, but I'm about to post a video about what I just did today. But they had a Senate hearing about this House bill that was being voted on, and so they invited members of the public to talk about it. But it's a bill to basically make December 12th officially the Day of the 12s in Washington State in the legislature. So I went down and testified as to why we should have that happen. So I have a video I'm about to post about that, of my visit to the courtroom or to the chambers this morning. So that's how I spent my morning before I came back, and then saw all this stuff going on about Cooper Kupp. So it's been a fun day. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Good. Well, let's talk some Cooper Kupp.
I mean, I know you. What was your first reaction?
Well, I was of the side that I'd like to see him come here when I heard he might be available for multiple reasons. So when I heard it actually happened, I was kind of surprised because I wasn't sure. There's so many times when you hope something's going to happen that you think is a possibility, and then it usually goes somewhere else. So, yeah, I'm concerned just like everybody else about the injury situation. He's been banged up the last 3 years, and it's not quite the guy he was 4 years ago. But, I still think kind of like Lockett, I still think he's got some capabilities. He'll be a little bit slower, but he can still play, just like I think Lockett could put on a uniform and still play. But, can he be healthy enough to contribute through an entire season and make a difference? And I'm counting on that he will be motivated to do so. So, yeah, in general, I wanted the move and I liked it. How about you? Sounds like you have maybe some hesitation.
I think he's better than DK Metcalf.
Ooh, well, that's a hot take right there. I was going to say I think he's better than Tyler Lockett, but to say he's better than DK Metcalf, obviously we've seen him better than him in his peak. DK Metcalf has never reached the numbers that the peak of Cooper Kupp ever did. But talk to me now. Are you saying that right now in his current state, if you were to put pound for pound right next to each other, that Cooper Kupp's a better receiver than DK Metcalf?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Talk to me why. Convince me.
Even at his old age, I still think he still has, the catches, the receptions, the yards, and maybe slowing down on the touchdowns, but I think he still has it all.
Yeah. Well, I remember a lot of games where Cooper Kupp would frustrate the hell out of you. Right? Especially when he's at his peak, there was a time when that dude could not do wrong. He was always open. Everywhere you looked, seemed like he was wide open. And of course, he could catch like crazy. So, yeah, can he still do that? That's just the big question. But cool to hear that you feel confident that he's not only going to be able to do that, but do it better than even DK, the $30 million man. He's getting paid twice as much. So,
what do you think about Valdez-Scantling?
Valdez-Scantling?
Yeah.
It was all right. I think I kind of projected, well, if he's going to end up anywhere on the team, he'll be at number 3. And that was before we even had, Cooper Kupp as any kind of a lock. So I thought, okay, well, JSN's obviously our number 1. Scantling can be 3, and we need to figure out who's our number 2. And I don't know if Kupp could be 2 if he plays anywhere close to what he had been playing. But if not, then Kupp's probably our 3, and then 2 might be somebody we haven't even seen yet. Maybe somebody that they draft or something, or, it just kind of depends. Maybe that is what it is. It's JSN, Kupp, MVS, and then whatever else they shift around in there. But I feel like the Seahawks aren't done yet. I feel like they're going to draft a receiver. I don't know how early. I hope if they have a choice, I hope they go offensive lineman in the draft before they go receiver. But I feel like they're going to get one, at least one, in the draft here. And it's just a question of how high are they going to go to get it. So, but I hope the Seahawks, I don't want the Seahawks to get a quarterback this year. I feel like they can wait now and focus on building those trenches so that whoever's quarterback, obviously Sam Darnold this year and whoever it might be next year, whether it's Sam Darnold or somebody else, you just want to feel like you've got a line that's setting them up for success for the next few years. And we just don't know if we're there yet. But I hope they do everything possible to make sure that they address the biggest issue that we've known has been the biggest issue. It's been the thing that's kept us from making it into the playoffs the last 2 years, because I think we had enough weapons to get there. Maybe we couldn't have gone very far. But I feel like if the lineman was just a little bit better, like a even below average, I think we probably make the playoffs. Our line was just bad. We need to get to average to above average. So we need to jump a few notches. We got to do it this year. This is the time to do it.
Do you think you think they're going to go after the number 1 pick and maybe potentially get like Shedeur Sanders? Or do they stay at number 3 and maybe get a guy like Will Howard?
I don't know. Well, it used to be that you would always assume that Schneider was going to drop back, right, and trade back, I should say, and get more picks and not use that first-round pick. But it seems like the last few years he's kind of used it, right, because he used it on Byron Murphy last year. The year before that was Witherspoon, right, and then JSN after that. So we've actually used the first 2 picks the last 2 years. So I would not be disappointed if they just go high pick, get a stud, almost for sure thing lineman in the draft, and just get that over with. Just get it over with. You know, it would solve a lot of problems because I feel like we don't have as many glaring issues. What I really want to see them get, and I don't have names for this, but I want to see them get obviously an offensive lineman. Would love to see him get just a really, really good tight end. And then after that, I'm kind of open to whatever, another receiver, more defensive depth on the line. But yeah, that's kind of my wish list, that they find those 2 positions, a great tight end and a great offensive lineman. If nothing else, because in the draft, right? We were talking to somebody about how the fact that the Seahawks from the class of, I can't remember, is it 19 and 20? I think it was when I was talking to Steve Z.A. Smith. We were talking about how there's 2 draft classes, and I think 2019 was one of them with DK gone now. That basically there's like no one left from a couple of those draft classes from that late teens, early 20s. And that's sad to not have anyone left, So I hope that they can find at least 2 guys who can carry over and be, an impact player who lasts through the second contract. Because, man, we had some players who were just like, oh, they sucked. See you later. Don't even make the team, or they're gone after the first. What's that?
I think D. Eskridge might be the only one.
Yeah, D. Eskridge was, but he's gone. He was gone after last year. So, yeah. So, but I'm really excited to get into the draft. Oh, no Bolter's in here. So excited for this, he says. So much time to add talent. And speaking of Noah Bolter, we're going to be doing a collab tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Excited to talk about this and all the signings that we have seen. Well, last time we did a collab, we talked about everything prior to free agency starting, and now we got a whole heck of a lot to talk about. So, Noah Bolter, glad to have you in here, man. Can't wait to get into it tomorrow afternoon. See if anything happens between now and then, but we have plenty to discuss in the meantime. So I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific, with Noah Bolter. It's going to be awesome. Well, we'll see what happens, man. But I'm glad to hear your positivity. I mean, everyone's been pretty positive, but you to say the Cooper Kupp is better right now, than DK Metcalf, whew, that's a statement. We'll see how it plays out. We'll be able to quantify that at the end of the year next year and see who has the better season. DK Metcalf with the Steelers or Cooper Kupp here in Seattle. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing if we could have Cooper Kupp actually outperform DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh? That would be a very much like, yeah, how'd that work out for you, Pittsburgh? That would be not a bad place to be. All right, Coach Mesh, thanks for calling, man. It's good to catch up with you.
You too, Norb. It was nice to see you.
We will talk soon. All right, take care, man. All right, well, a couple more people jumped on the line here. I will do my best to get through to all these. Let me go to, it says Girdwood Realty. Am I actually getting a business on here? Who's this?
Sorry, no, I'm on my dad's business plan.
Okay, I was like, it's interesting to have a business calling my line. Oh, a potential sponsor? What's happening? No, who's this?
Oh, this is Daniel Kirk. I've been subscribed to you for like 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, Daniel Kirk. Okay, yeah, okay. That looks more familiar. I was like, Realty. I don't get too many of these here. All right, 907, where's that at?
Anchorage area up in Alaska.
Oh, you're Alaska. Okay, all right. Well, what'd you think of the Cooper Kupp signing today?
I was pretty shocked, you know. I was like, I thought we were tanking there. Then we got Sam Darnold, and I was like, okay, I guess we're not tanking. Then we got Demarcus Lawrence, which I'm not so sure about that signing. But yeah, Cooper Kupp kind of shows me that we're still playing for that division, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure they're not tanking.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Do you feel like? Do you think he can? How do you see him fitting in? If JSN's our clear number one receiver, where do you see Cooper Kupp fitting in the depth chart?
He's definitely wide receiver too, and I saw that we re-signed Cody White, so I think Bobo and him would be fighting it out for wide receiver 3. I don't think they'd give it to MVS. I think he'll be like our deep threat because he's got the speed, but he's got freaking dud hands.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's pretty exciting, and we still have the draft to come up. So hopefully we bolster the offensive line and give Sam Darnold time because he kind of likes to hold on to the ball for a while.
Yeah, we've seen, like I said, comparisons between Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. You can make some very strong comparisons on some of the things they both have not done well, and some things they both do well. And yeah, I don't think they're that drastically far apart. I feel like Sam
age.
Yeah, well, the age is definitely a thing. I feel like that Sam Darnold, again, I have to ignore the last 2 games that they played because the Vikings' last 2 games of the year were pretty horrible. But watching him process, there were times when I see what Geno's, there's that one game, I think it was the Bills. There was a game where he had a guy open, and I saw what he was thinking, but he just waited too long. It's like he waited to see it, and then he threw, and by that time the defender had walked back out and picked him off. So sometimes I think the process, the anticipation.
Done that a couple times.
Yeah, so the anticipation is off, and I know he's put the ball in harm's way many times. I think he's gotten lucky that some of them didn't get picked off. So it's almost like it could have been a lot worse had the defender not dropped it or whatever it is. So, it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back with a whole new team, reunited with Pete Carroll, and we'll kind of know. I feel like when the Seahawks traded Russell Wilson, and obviously that worked out great for us, right? We got a haul of draft picks. Mm-hmm. Denver still paying the price for that one financially and everything. They're finally getting out of that hole that Russ created for them. But we kind of got rid of Russ at the perfect time. Because, at the time it happened, I was kind of like the same feeling when we let these guys go. Yeah, and nobody knew for sure how he would go, right? Everybody expected, at least from Denver, they all thought he was going to lead them to a Super Bowl, and it was quite the opposite. And then he goes to Pittsburgh, and it's in a low-risk situation where the money's getting paid by Denver, and it's like, well, if he can't make it in Pittsburgh, what other options does he have, And, he does all right. He came in after being injured and then played some games that started and won some, and it started to look like, oh, maybe this is going to be a good turn for Russ. And then the last 5 games of the year just kind of, didn't go their way. And so big question marks are, where is he going to end up?
That was their toughest stretch.
Yeah, it was.
Their end of the season schedule was brutal.
It was a brutal stretch, but you got to win them, right? If you want to make the playoffs.
I don't think he starts this year on any team.
You think he's a backup?
He might not get signed.
Oh, so you think he might be teamless in 2025?
Maybe. He might get picked up on an emergency, like a team that loses their starter or something, or backup sucks. I could see a situation like that, but I think
I don't know, man. If Jimmy Garoppolo can be a backup for the Rams, Russell Wilson can be a backup for somebody. Somebody will pick him up. I don't think he'll be unemployed. I think he's going to get some kind of job. But I don't know if he wants to be a backup, right? He went to the Steelers because he had this reassurances from Mike Tomlin that he was going to be the starter.
Yeah.
And I remember that was controversial in itself because a lot of people were like, wait, you're already going to give him the starting position? We got Justin Fields in here. And it was a weird dynamic there. Now both of them are out of there. I don't even know if they have their quarterback. Didn't they sign, what's his name? O'Connell or something?
Who?
But the Steelers?
Which team?
The Steelers?
They got that guy back. The guy who freaking Myles Garrett hit him in the head with the helmet. I forgot his name.
Yeah,
They got him back.
Isn't it O'Connell?
No, it's not. I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Somebody in the chat could
It's killing me.
bring that up. Whoever they got. So, I don't know. Is
I
that
doubt
there?
he's the starter.
Oh, that's right. Rudolph. Sorry. Why did I call Connell? Mason Rudolph. Yes. Thank you, Dylan and Nelberry Farms. Mason Rudolph. So, I don't know. Is that their starter? Is that it? Is that who's going to be the guy?
I would be shocked if that was their starter.
DK's like going, what? I left Seattle to come to this? Well, at least I'll get paid.
I have a sneaky suspicion that the Steelers are going to go after either Quinn Ewers or Jackson Dart.
Well, where are they drafting at? They're not that far off from where we are, right? As far as draft
They're
order.
probably like 20, 21, somewhere in there.
So they don't exactly have, they're not exactly in that prime position, but interesting stuff, man. It's just, that's what makes this so much fun because it's always changing and the salary cap keeps it interesting.
I know. Do you think we should still go after a mid-round quarterback as a backup, or what's your opinion on that?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Sam Howell's still on the team, right? He's still our backup right now?
Yes, he is.
It's so funny because you don't ever want to spend a bunch of resources on a backup quarterback, and then when you actually have to play your backup quarterback, you go, oh, man, we should have got a better backup quarterback. Because all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, we're in this guy's hands now. He was horrible when he came in last year.
Much chance. Oh God, that Green Bay performance might have been one of the worst performances I've
ever seen. And of course that's like the worst way a guy could come in and try to like, hey, you need to go in there. Good luck.
Yeah.
On that game, we just sucked everywhere.
Multiple scores.
Yeah, it was a bad game, period. You got Packers fans making all the noise, pissing me off. We're playing like crap. Our defense, which we thought was suddenly coming together just for whatever reason, didn't show up that day. And they're just doing whatever they want. They're going down the field. We're down multiple scores. Geno comes out and is like, Sam, go out there and try to do something. Okay, coach. I haven't really had any practice this week, but okay. Just terrible.
Don't get me started on the sellout fans freaking ruining our home field advantage.
Oh man, that was painful, man. We've had some bad games before with when Packers fans have come to town, but that was one of the worst. That Go Pack Go was like in your face, so loud.
Yeah, you could hear. I was watching on TV. You could hear it through the TV. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, that was embarrassing. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? This is happening right now? Now, if we'd gotten off to a better start, maybe, and kind of not let them get all the momentum, maybe they would have been a little more quieter, because you know how it is. You start losing, you get quiet. But we were getting our butts kicked.
Yeah, but there were still a lot of fans there. A quarter of the freaking stadium might have been Packer fans.
Yeah. No, for sure. It was bad. It was a bad situation. I don't want to see that happen again. That was weird. If you watch my YouTube video where I'm sitting, it's on the Seahawks sideline, or Seahawks side of the sideline, up in the section 334, which is about the 40-yard line looking to the right. But at the end of the game, as soon as it was over, all of a sudden, all these, they sound like fireworks or M80s or something were going off behind me, like at the top of the stands. It was the weirdest thing because, I know they're not fireworks from the stadium because they let out like maybe 2 or 3 at the end of the game and that's it. And they're always on the sides at the end zones. But these were going off like right behind us. It was weird. Everyone was looking around like, what's happening? And I don't know what happened. Someone just decided to bring some fireworks in and was having some fun, but it was weird. It was a weird, like, get the hell out of here. What's going on? This is not right. But anyway, yeah, that was a bad game. But so, yeah, back to answer a long answer to your question about the quarterback thing. Like I said, I feel like this offensive line, now again, barring a massive transformation because of simply line coaches, scheme, and offensive coordinator, that by bringing in a whole new system, could that completely recharge this current staff that we have or roster that we have where they would perform better than they did last year? Because they were so bad last year that are they just that bad, or could a new scheme really change the way they block and, just play more effectively? And maybe they do, and maybe we don't have to just overhaul everybody.
I would like to see Chris Haynes. I would like to see him get another shot at either center or guard. I don't think Abe Lucas will be able to stay. I don't think he'll ever be a full season starter. You don't think so?
This is the first time he's kind of coming in, like, other than I think the first year out, right? Because even last year he started the season injured, left the season injured the year before.
But we at least need a solid rotational guy behind him. And Charles Cross is obviously our best lineman. I think we have to take whoever the best offensive lineman is available at pick 18. And maybe sign a free agent. I don't know. But I think we need at least 3 new players on that offensive line.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, could this breathe new life into these existing guys that are on the team right now? Like Oluwatimi and Michael Jarrell and our tackles. Charles Cross, as much as he's kind of been the guy that we can say is our best lineman, you watch him. I've watched the tape, and it's like, even watching him play, it's like he's not great. A lot of times he's not giving up the sack, but he's getting pushed so far back, he's like in Geno's face, which is almost as good as a sack.
Too.
Yeah. So, again,
false starts.
Yeah, makes you realize how great Walter Jones really was when you look back at his whole career and how he had I think 13 holding penalties in his whole career over 10 years. And I mean, that dude was just something next level. It's a shame that he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see what the Seahawks plan to do. It'll be fun to jump into this draft and do a little bit more deeper diving into what's available, linemen and whatnot. I haven't really done my full research on that. I'm going to start doing that in a few, the next few days and the weeks ahead to get a sense as to who I wanted. Like last year, I had Jared Verse on my sort of mock draft as who the Seahawks should get, and they picked up Byron Murphy, who was, one of my more second or third choices. And then what does Jared Verse do? He goes and sacks the hell out of teams and ends up being Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, not to say that I know anything anybody else knows, but man, it's like we could have had him. So, I hope Byron Murphy can become the player that we were hoping him to. Because, JSN's great. He is what we hoped he would be. Witherspoon's awesome, right? Wouldn't switch that one either. Byron Murphy, I want him to be that guy where we go, man, that's what we drafted him for. Look at that dude. That dude's awesome. But we didn't quite get that from last year. So, yeah, we'll see, man. But, hey, thanks for the call, man. It's great chatting with you.
Yep, good talking to you, Norb.
Yep, I'm sure it won't be the last time. All right, take care, man. Go Hawks. I'm going to do one more call here with Andy from Mock, Georgia. This is probably the last one because I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm hungry. What's up, Andy? Or Andrew?
Hey, nothing much. Hear me? Can you hear me, Norb?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, there you go. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just thought you think I'm muted.
Oh, yeah, no. All's good.
Yeah, hey. Well, Cooper Kupp. Oh, man. That was exciting, Seahawks signed Cooper Kupp, and I was like, man, he's back in a wide receiver. I'm very happy for him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, but we still need like 2 or more of stats, records, and for the wide receivers. That's what we really need, because like since Lockett is gone, like I said. Oh man, I can't think. Well, yeah, since we lost Super Bowl and playoff wild cards and stuff for the Seahawks, yeah, I was very upset. But glad Cub is back in Washington and come home. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we've been talking about rotational depth chart for the receivers, and somebody earlier in the chat said something like JSN's the number one. Oh man, we are terrible or something. Where was that? I'm trying to find that comment. Somebody said something about negative to JSN. I don't know if I can find the message in here. Oh, Jason Wolf actually says JSN a number one. LOL, we are doomed. And he thinks we are fighting for third place with the Niners. The Rams are 1 and Arizona is 2, he says. All right, raining on my sunshine today. But let's look at JSN for just a second here. Jackson Smith and Jigba, first year in 2023, he had, 93 targets, 63 receptions, 628 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Second year.
So it's not that bad, or is it bad for Cooper Kupp?
Oh, well,
like the
Kupp, that's kind of Cooper Kupp type of numbers he's had the last couple of years. But going back to JSN, last year is when his coming out party was. 100 receptions on 137 targets, 1,130 yards, and 6 touchdowns. JSN had his breakout year last year. That's equivalent close to the best season that DK. I think DK had 1,300 yards at the peak of his career. Cooper Kupp had 1,900, almost 2,000 yards in his best year. And I think that was when he was the Super Bowl MVP. But, yeah, so an ideal scenario for Cooper Kupp, if we can get him to where he's somewhere around 800 to 900 yards, and like 5 or 6 touchdowns. If we could get that kind of productivity out of him, we could pull up his numbers again. I mean, that would be pretty good. I guess what I'm saying is he doesn't need to be Cooper Kupp from his MVP year. He can be Cooper Kupp of his okay year, and that would actually still be pretty good.
Depends. Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm happy for Kupp because Seahawks signed him, and and he's the best wide receiver.
Well, he hasn't played a full season in 3 years. The last time he played a full season when he had that breakout year, but he's basically played 9 games in 22, 12 games in 23, and 12 games in 24. And despite playing in almost half that many games or 5 less than a full season, he's still racked up 800 yards, 737 yards, and 710 yards. So even with less games, he still was pulling in some pretty darn good numbers. So, like I said, if he can get back to that 800, I'm not even actually, by saying that, I'm not even asking him to do much more than he's already done. Even in a more banged up state, he was still getting over 700 to 800 yards. So by me saying I want him to get around 800, well, he's about kind of asking him just to do what he's done. So I feel like he's got more upside than I think we are giving him credit for, especially since he's doing this without as many games played. So anyway, I'm more optimistic, thinking that I think he could do more than what people think he can. So
yeah. And plus my cousin Sam Rock, I was telling you about the Blue Skies song.
Yep.
So what he's rapping, he subscribed your channel.
Oh, well, that's nice. Appreciate that. Thank you,
yeah,
Sam Rock.
I sent him a video from you that me and AD and you were wearing the vocals singing in the prediction music video.
Oh, yeah, for the Bears game with the Olivia Holt Bears song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he loves it, and he thought I was awesome.
You did a good job, man. Your vocals on that were pretty good. Even AD was like, man, Andrew, he killed it. He killed those vocals. You did good on that one, man. That was really good. So
yeah,
that's cool. I appreciate him.
I'll let you go, man, because I know you have things going on, and I'm glad. I mean, kind of happy if I thought I'm happy for Cooper Kupp they signed him. So
yeah, it's exciting on many levels. But the upside to him, the potential is very, very good. So, all right, Andrew, it's good to talk to you, man.
Bye.
We'll talk soon.
All right,
all right, let's go one more here. 509 to is it Jane? Jane?
No, it's my mom's number.
That always happens. I always get the mom's number or the dad's business line or something. What's your name?
Al.
Al?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's simple. Okay. Al from the 509. So you must be in the Eastern Washington side of things.
Yep. East
Spokane?
side. Eastern Washington.
Washington. Yeah, we're at Spokane?
Othello.
Othello. Okay. All right. Well, you're the last caller, man, so you get the last reaction. How'd you feel about your boy coming back to Washington?
I'm really stoked. It's great to see one of my favorite players represent the East Side and come home. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, product of Eastern Washington University, came from Yakima.
I got a friend that plays for Eastern. Can't remember if he's on the O-line or D-line, but he's like a guard for Eastern. And I go to school with his younger brother, too. So.
Oh, right on. Oh, with whose younger brother?
Isaiah Perez.
Oh, okay. So he's the one who's the lineman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Position.
So you go to Eastern, you're saying?
No.
Where do you go?
I'm still in high school.
Oh, you're in high school. Okay, gotcha. Okay, but the other guy, the one you know, is a Eastern Washington product.
Yeah.
My kids, they actually took virtual classes from Eastern Washington. They have this program called College in the High School. So even though they're over here on the west side, go to Kent Ridge. They
I took a.
Yeah, Eastern Washington offers that. So they got some credits helping knock things down a little bit.
He's a defensive tackle.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah, Eastern Washington's produced some pretty decent football products. But yeah, Cooper Kupp might be the most legendary one.
Definitely.
Oh, Bill Marsh in the chat. Kubiak bringing in O with fullback equals I, king and queen formations, bootlegs, and high percentage first down passing to JSN, Kupp, and tight ends. This is awesome. And who was our number one wide receiver the Super Bowl year? JSN may be better. All right. I am excited to see the Kubiak scheme. Obviously, the UW Ryan Grubb scheme didn't work. I even kind of predicted it in that when before the season started, I made this kind of hype trailer video, and I said, Ryan Grubb is going to try to run a UW college-style offense with the best offensive line in the league, but doing it with the worst offensive line in the league. It's pretty much what he did, and it didn't work. It worked for a little while, and then it just fell apart. But this year is going to be much different, much more experience, and again, Coach McDonald having input from the beginning. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it looks like. Yeah.
So I'm really hyped about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be nice. We get to have somebody pair with JSN. And, I mean, maybe we could get another receiver the first round. Or we could go for the quarterback option, like get a Jackson Dart. Or go later, get like a Quinn Ewers or a Jalen Milroe. That's probably where I'm guessing is probably either the wide receiver route or the quarterback route for this year in the draft. But hopefully everything should go somewhat smoothly heading into next season. And I hope we get a couple offensive linemen signed. Maybe get a fullback from the Niners. Forgot his name.
Juszczyk. Yeah, I know. It sounds like the Seahawks have a plan to have a fullback this year, which I think is great. But yeah, that would be a nice pickup. The 49ers former fullback. I'm not sure I think he's still floating out there. I think he's one of those free agency casualties. So that would be a nice addition. So weird to pick up these guys from your rivals, whether it's Cooper Kupp or potential 49er coming this way. That would be nice, though, man. It would be the first time.
Agreed.
So.
And I mean, we get Sam Darnold, too. So we're going to have, and he had a breakout year last season, 4,000 passing yards. So I'm really excited to see what this team's heading for in the future. My hope is that we probably make a wild card spot or we win the division. I'm leaning towards the division, but we'll see how we do. We'll see how the pieces fall in.
Yeah. It feels like the Rams right now are the strongest team in the division, just kind of on paper right now, but pre-draft, of course.
Yeah.
They drafted pretty well last year. But,
yeah.
You know, the Niners feel like they're on the way down with all the players that they've lost in free agency and trades, and they still got to figure out their quarterback situation. This is a tough deal, man. They really, the Niners did everything that the Seahawks did in terms of feeling like they had the perfect storm to win the Super Bowl, except they didn't win the Super Bowl. Yeah. They went to it, but they couldn't pull it off, and they missed their window, man. Yeah. It's like every team gets a window. You get this little window in this era that we have.
Andrew must be crying. He's a huge Niner fan.
Oh, sure. There's a lot of Niners fans probably feeling like,
the only white 49er fan in my town.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not sad to see, but yeah, they had so many chances the last 5 or 6 years to, they missed it by just that much. Like one play, they could have had 2.
I know.
So thank goodness that never happened. We never heard the end of it.
Yeah. Could somebody play that "You Blew It" sound effect from Billy Madison?
Oh, yeah.
Urinating treat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty appropriate, though, man. They definitely blew it. They were this close a couple times, but I got to see it live last year. But yeah, it was.
Super Bowl contending team finished in the bottom of the division, bottom half of the division, and they're losing a bunch of their players in the off season. So. They're definitely having probably one of the all-time collapses in NFL history. I can tell you that 100%.
Yeah. Well, they were one of the best, for that stretch. And during that time, that's when you feel like you got to get it done because you may not get it done. You can't sustain it because they were benefiting from the Brock Purdy, sweepstakes and not having to pay him.
Yeah.
But now they got to pay him if they want to keep him. And they've already got weapons that they're losing and having to restock again. So... yeah, it's going to be a tough climb back up for those guys. But yeah, I'm not sad about that. That's for sure. I'm all right with that. I'm totally cool with that.
I'm happy to watch it burn. I'm grabbing some popcorn.
Yeah, but yeah, we got other problems though. We got the Rams still a pain in our butt.
Yeah, we got
twice the last 2 years they've edged us out for playoffs, and we should have beaten them both times. We should have been the ones in the playoffs, but. That's just been
just had some ugly losses. The
Rams have been 2 of the worst ones that games we should have won that would have sent us to the playoffs. One we missed a field goal by that much 2 years ago, and then last year the whole interception, red zone, overtime, can't make third and 1, don't kick the field goal. That whole game was
huge punch in the stomach.
Yeah. We got to be able to punch it in. That's what we need this year. We need to know that it's 3rd and 1, that we will just be able to get that and not be like, uh-oh, it's 3rd and 1, we're in trouble. Because that's what it's been like the last couple of years. So, yeah.
The fullback in, he could just plow his way through, just coming in like a semi.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's funny that there's all this push to try to make the tush push illegal, but the Eagles are the ones who can do it. It'd be one thing if everybody was doing it and they're all unstoppable, and then you can say, well, yeah, let's get rid of that play because everybody's just over abusing it. It's like, no, only the Eagles are the only team that can run that to perfection. Nobody else can do it like they do. Yeah. So, until they do, it's like, well, they found the magic key for that play. We need to get that play where you go, okay, it's 3rd and 1, we got this. No problem.
Yeah,
we'll just do whatever run play with the fullback
extra
leading or
yard.
whatever. So, all right, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab this. I guess there's a couple more calls coming in here. I'm going to try to wrap these up because I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything all day long. It's already past dinner time.
I got to get off the hook too. So.
All right. Well, take care. It's good to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
You have a good weekend.
And go Hawks. Yeah.
Appreciate.
Let's try Braden one more time. Braden, we're trying this again. We missed you
What do
last
you
time.
think about the Sam Darnold thing? Is it good, or do you want to take a quarterback in the draft?
I'm okay with the Sam Darnold thing. I think it's going to be good because this isn't really the draft to get your quarterback in per se. I'd rather them draft next year after they've shored up the offensive line. Otherwise, if you keep doing the same offensive line situation, and maybe the line will be better just because the whole scheme and all that, but I feel like they got to stabilize that line situation and then put resources to getting a quarterback. But I'd hate to not address the line when they can and go for a QB, because I said last year, you could have put Patrick Mahomes behind that line last year and he would have been just as bad. He would have looked like he did in the Super Bowl. That's what Geno Smith was every year. Every play, every game was like the way Pat Mahomes looked like against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. That was Geno Smith on a weekly basis. So we just can't run. You can't win that way. We got to definitely improve the whole foundation of what the offense is built on. So if that means we got to draft high for a line, we got to do it. Say again?
What do you think about JSN as the number 1 receiver right now?
Well, he is the number 1 receiver. Again, going off of the numbers, he had 1,100 yards last year. Right now, I don't see anybody else coming close to that who's on the staff. So, maybe he's not. I think what it is, he doesn't have the look and build of your number 1. DK looks like a number 1 receiver, even though he didn't perform the numbers of a number 1 receiver. But he got the attention of a number 1 receiver, double coverage a lot, and that's why JSN was open. So I guess you do the math the opposite way. It's like, well, you take DK out, and now JSN is like the guy that they know they're going to probably target. Well, now they can put more guys on stopping him because they don't have a DK to worry about. So they're going to have to offset that balance because without DK, they don't command the double teams. So we're going to need to get more production out of the tight ends. We got to get, Cooper Kupp to kind of do what he does. And, if Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I guess got to call him MVS for short, if he can at least make an impact, and then, again, it's the other names, the other unknowns, guys on our staff already or someone that we draft, to come in and be that new spark to things, to add to the mix of this. But yeah, JSN, he's, I don't look at him like he doesn't look the part of because he plays in the slot, right? Your number 1 receiver is normally split wide. So is he going to play split, wide? I don't think so. He's so good coming out of the slot, but right now it feels like we've got a bunch of slot guys, and we've got MVS who's tall, built kind of height of a DK, but not the bulk and massiveness of one. So I guess in that regard, we don't have necessarily the look of the true number 1. So, but I don't know. That's what we'll have to see, is how does that dynamic change without DK and Tyler here? Will that affect JSN's numbers, and will he no longer be number 1 because he was number 1 because everybody else was being paid attention to? If he's now the obvious number 1, maybe his targets and receptions will go down, and we'll need somebody else to step up. So again, that's why I really want to get a tight end. I feel like that's another thing we've been missing for a long time, is a really, really good tight end who can block and catch and be that safety blanket.
Do you think AJ
type.
Barner will be the starting tight end?
I want something better. He's a good second tight end. He's a good blocker, and he can catch, but I feel like I would love to see somebody coming out of the draft who can really be like the number 1 tight end. I like him as a second, and I love the double tight end sets that I'm sure they're going to run, run that 12 personnel, or maybe even 2 running backs with double tight ends. But Yeah, I don't see him as the number one receiver. Or tight end. I feel like they could upgrade that spot one. But I like him. I like him for what he is. You got to have at least two, but I don't think he's your number one tight end. In my opinion.
Do you think we will trade our first round draft pick back?
You got a lot of good, quick, simple, to the point questions. I don't think they will. I think they're going to use it. We got 10 picks, I think, in this draft. I think we should use them. I think we should use it because with drafts that we've had where we've had quantity over quality, I would rather have lesser numbers at better quality than have just a bunch of picks, because what good is your picks if they're just a bunch of guys who aren't that great? I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of guys who just kind of come through and they never amount to anything. So I'd rather get 3 or 4 really good players than have like 7 or 8 guys you don't really care about who can't make an impact, right? I mean, you'd be lucky if you can get 2, 3 guys who can carry over from a draft. I mean, that would actually be really successful. But Seahawks have had some drafts where they got nothing that lasted.
I have a question
3 or 4
for you.
years.
Do you know if we play the Eagles this year?
Yes, I believe we do. We play them. I think we play them in Philadelphia. Check me if I'm wrong, but I thought I remember seeing Philadelphia's on the schedule. Let me see. Just look it up.
All right, because I live in Philadelphia, so if it's in there, I'm probably going to go.
Let's just take a quick look. Pretty sure. Wait, no, I take it back. It was Pittsburgh. Sorry, it's the wrong Pennsylvania. It's Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh who we play. So, yeah, no, my bad. It was, not Pennsylvania. It was Pittsburgh. Yeah, the teams we play, besides our division, at home, the teams will be Texans, Buccaneers, Colts, Vikings, and Saints. And away, it's going to be the Falcons again. God, we play the Falcons a lot. How does that happen? Titans, Panthers, Commanders, Jaguars, and Steelers. So the games that'll be of note to be interesting to see will be Steelers going up against DK, Commanders going up against Bobby, Vikings Sam Darnold going up against his old team, and what other interesting storylines are in here? Falcons, because we'll get to go against Michael Penix. That'll be fun to watch. Quarterback that I was kind of hoping we might somehow snag last year.
Do you think the Seahawks are a 10-win team this season?
Yes. I think we could be better than a 10-win team. We were, what was our record last year? We missed it by we were 10-7 and missed it by 1. 9-8. That's right. No, you're 10-7. We were 10-7 with the Rams not playing their starters in the last game. 10-7, but we missed the playoffs. So yes, can we be as good as we were last year? Yeah. And I think this time we got to dethrone the Rams. That's 2 in a row where they just edged us out. I think we can do better than that. Bill Marsh adding says, Kubiak will do what Grubb couldn't, move the pocket and utilizing a fullback. Think of a glorified guard. It's an extra O-line in the backfield to help block, and the bootlegs quick timing offset the offensive line play. So what I'm getting from that is it sounds like we won't need to just completely put in new players on the offensive line, that we can probably make better use of the players that we have. Yeah, we'll have some infusion of talent, but I think it's not predicated on replacing every single guy that we saw on the line last year to be good. That would be a good thing. Yeah. That'd be a great thing. So.
Do you think on the Rams, Davante Adams is a new threat?
Davante Adams is not what he used to be. He's a little bit older, like all these guys are getting up there a little bit. But Stafford's got some good weapons now, young weapons, right? Puka Nacua. He doesn't have to be the number one receiver. It's kind of like Kupp coming to Seattle, maybe not quite as banged up as he is, but he doesn't have to come in or being the number one. It's like DK, he's under pressure. He's got $30 million plus riding on him being the guy to help transform the offense. And you can imagine the magnifying glass he's under, that the moment he screws up, right, drops a big pass or runs a bad route or throws a tantrum, people are going to be all over him over there in Pittsburgh because they rely on him because of all the money that is, and I think they gave up draft capital as well. So there's a lot of pressure there. But these other signings, these guys who were number ones in the day don't have that pressure. So they can kind of just be, secondary pieces when the other primary receivers aren't open. And they're still good. They just aren't going to be like the number one guy. So, that's it. So, yeah, they'll be an issue because now you got more guys to have to cover. They just won't be the threat like they were when they were the guy.
They also put the 2 crash outs on the one team.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be interesting with DK and Pickens on the same team, two wide receiver divas who, I guess DK yielded because they had the same number. Pickens had 14 as well. DK was like, well, he was already here.
Fight over 14.
Yeah, no, he already kind of relented, and in his press conference, DK said he was going to let him keep 14. So he was already being a team player. He was already being a good guy. So anyway, well, good questions, man. I appreciate you calling in. Where's 267, by the way?
Huh?
Where's the 267? Where's that area code?
We're out of Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right. You said you're in Pennsylvania. Okay, gotcha. All right, man. Well, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. It's good chatting with you. All right, that is it. I'm gonna go get something to eat because I'm starving. But thanks you guys for joining me on this. What turned out to be a 2-hour feature film live stream. I was going to go for like 40 minutes or something. It always goes longer, but good stuff though. Great calls today. I appreciate you guys who were in the chat. For those who are super chatting as well, that's greatly appreciated. That's it. We'll see what happens next, but an exciting way to end the week. We'll see if anything else happens over the weekend. I'm still waiting to hear. I don't think there's not been any solid news about the Geno contract, unless I missed something, right? Geno still has not officially signed and announced the deal he's going to get with Pete Carroll and the Raiders. I don't think I've heard anything. Have you guys heard anything? I'm curious to see what the deal comes out to be, but it's interesting that it's taken this long to announce it, given that he was traded, let go like a week ago. It was a week ago today. It was a Friday when it was announced that Geno was being traded. So it's interesting that they still haven't officially announced his deal. So very interesting. All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk soon. I'll bring any up-to-date breaking news that comes to Seahawks way. I'll make sure to get on video and get it out there. In the meantime, look soon for a video about my journey to the Washington State Capitol, testifying on behalf of the new bill to make it official, December 12 as the Day of the 12s here in Washington State. All right, I'm out of here. Good night, you guys. Have a good one.
Yo, I'm Cam Walker, running back for the Seattle Seahawks.
Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
You're watching NORBFAM.
You're watching NORBFAM.